Hi everyone, I'm Dina with Mills Family Gardening. We live in North Texas, Zone 8A, and in this video we'll be talking about what we can plant in July. We're so blessed with a very mild climate where we have really warm summers, and we still have plenty of time to start a lot of flowers and vegetables by seed. So all throughout the month of July, we can plant outdoors by seed the following fruit and vegetables: cantaloupe, watermelon, okra, winter squash, pumpkins. Winter squash is also butternut squash, southern peas, and those are cow peas, purple hull peas, and black-eyed peas. And also we can plant the following flowers, such as zinnias, sunflowers. You can also plant hollyhocks and Melvis sylvestris by seed outdoors now. Their seeds will sprout now and they'll be growing through the summer, fall, winter, and spring, and they will start blooming in the spring and summer of next year. That's what we did with our Melvis sylvestris last year. I planted the seeds last year and it was beautifully blooming this year, and it's still blooming even though now it's winding down, now that it's too hot. All throughout the month of July, you can still plant basil by seed outdoors. It will be just fine. Even though it's hot, basil loves Texas summer heat, and it will be growing really well. Now let's talk about what vegetables and flowers we can plant in late July. In late July, we can plant the following flowers and vegetables: corn, cucumbers, pole beans, snap beans, zucchinis, and also cosmos. When it comes to corn, make sure you pick a variety of corn that is ready to be harvested in approximately 65 days from the day you plant it by seed. Because if it's a longer growing variety of corn, it will be growing into the beginning of November, and that's when we start getting our early frost, and there is a very good chance that your corn might not have enough time to ripen. Last year we grew fall corn and it did really well. The only thing about planting corn in July or August is you have to protect it from grasshoppers, because at that time of year, grasshoppers are really bad and they will devour those tender seedlings. So a couple of years ago, after I planted our corn and we had to leave on a trip, I actually covered our whole patch with an insect mesh, and after we came back, all that corn was grown and looked very nice, and it was not damaged by grasshoppers. If you would like to grow certain perennials that require cold stratification, now would be a good time to place those seeds in moist soil or moist paper towel, and then place the whole thing in the refrigerator for about a month. And after you take them out of the refrigerator at the end of August, you can start those seeds and they can grow through the fall, establish their root system, and they will have a better chance to survive winter, and they'll be growing really well in the spring of next year. For example, if I want to start hardy hibiscus seeds this year, I can place them in moist soil or paper towel, place them in the refrigerator, then take them out, and they will grow in the same container in moist soil, and they will sprout, and then I would be able to plant them in the ground or in a container, and they'll do just fine. There are some seeds that we can start indoors in July, and those seeds are eggplant and peppers. Now let's talk about what we can plant indoors by seed in late July, and those are brassica family vegetables like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, spinach, and Swiss chard. I don't know about you, but I've been having a really hard time starting the seeds of brassica family vegetables indoors, like cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower. All my seedlings start out well, but as they grow, they start wilting under the grow light. And I don't know if the problem is that the grow light is too hot for them or what, but lately what I've been doing is I would start the seeds indoors because it's too hot for those seeds to sprout outside. So I would start them indoors, and once they start sprouting, I would take them outside into the spot that gets dappled sun all day long. And also I would cover them with an insect mesh to protect them from grasshoppers or other insects that love chewing on those vegetables. And they grow fine until it's time for them to be transplanted in the ground in August. All throughout the month of July, it's time to transplant your tomato seedlings outside. When it comes to tomatoes, make sure they're small fruited varieties because we don't have so much time until the first freeze will arrive. So your tomatoes need to ripen in a short amount of time. That's why I pick either indeterminate varieties or small cherry or small fruited varieties. In the past, I used to try to keep my spring tomatoes through the heat of the summer, hoping that they would produce more fruit in the fall. But actually, now that I look at it, I think it was a big mistake because it takes a lot of effort to keep those tomatoes in the heat of Texas summer. So it's much better to just let them die, harvest the last of the fruit that you have on your tomatoes right now, and then simply pull them out of the ground. ground. If your tomatoes are diseased, their leaves are brown, they have blight or powder and mildew, it's much better to pull them out of the ground so those diseases would not stay in the ground and then pass on to your next crop of tomatoes. Now, if your tomatoes are healthy, you might want to consider simply cutting them down without pulling their roots and then planting new tomato plants in between those stubs. After you put your new tomato seedlings in the ground, make sure you cover shade cloth, which is 40% shade cloth above them, because it's too hot for them. If you don't, they will struggle, and then there's a very good chance they might even die in our Texas heat. So it's much better to spread 40% shade cloth over them and make sure they would stay healthy and survive for fall production. To keep those tomato seedlings healthy, it's very important to fertilize the soil real well and also mulch those plants and water them regularly. Make sure tomatoes do not stay in dry soil, because that way they get stressed and they cannot resist pests and diseases when they're weak. Some people say we should not fertilize our plants during the hottest part of the summer, but I haven't found it to be true, because when I fertilize my plants through the hottest part of our summers, my plants are doing so well, they're strong, they're vigorous, and they're healthy. They can resist all those diseases and pests much easier. Let's talk about other garden jobs that we need to do in July, and those are keep fertilizing, mulching, and watering your plants. July is the month when we need to purchase seeds of corn, cauliflower, cucumbers, cabbage, broccoli, and mustard seeds. Also, make sure you keep weeding your garden, because this is when the weeds grow the worst, so make sure to stay on top of the weeding. Also in July, make sure to purchase the seeds of cold hardy flowers like dianthus, foxglove, echinacea, snapdragon, statice, strawflower, rudbeckia, poppies, salvias, delphinium, calendula, and ami, if you plan on growing flowers in the fall. Our temperatures are getting higher, it is getting hotter, so make sure to move your containers with certain plants that don't tolerate the sun that well into areas that get dappled sun or morning sun and then afternoon shade. And that's what we do in the month of July. I really hope this video is going to help you to plan your garden for the fall. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please ask, and have a great day.